My name is Kennedy Ng, and I am very happy to present to you tonight the Dream City, Union City, New Jersey, which will be an option for the community to know the good things that happen in this beautiful city and to find out about positive changes and assistance programs that our community offers. You can contact us at 201-522-7722 or send us an email to kmwng@aol.com. I hope you all enjoy it.
The city of Union City, a cosmopolitan city where almost all of us have seen each other. We are like a large family that through the management of our representatives, they help our citizens. And our people do volunteer work because they know that the city is run by a mayor who has shown that he is not the common politician, but that he works for his community. This program is an extension of information where we are going to have participation of personalities from the public and private sectors so that they can keep us informed of the community. May that be educational activities and everything that benefits us.
Good evening, Union City, the Dream City. As promised, tonight we have two special guests from the Fire Prevention Department of Union City, New Jersey. Gavin, who is the Deputy Coordinator of the Fire Prevention Department, and Mr. Joseph Isola, who is the Coordinator of Union City Fire Prevention Department. Good evening, Mr. Gavin.
Good. How are you today?
I'm very good. I know that you are here to provide information for the city of Union City, the Dream City, information that I personally believe that the community should know. Glen, how did you start your career in Union City as a firefighter or assistant coordinator of the prevention department?
Sure. I began as a fireman, going to be 22 years now, coming up. As a firefighter. I was promoted to captain in 2012, and about 3 years ago, at the end of 2019, I was offered the opportunity to begin the fire prevention that started up with Coordinator Joe Isola and the staff that we've established. One of the major things that brought this all about was the tragedy on 25th Street, the fire, and trying to educate the community about fire safety. And that's what brought us here today. And now we've established a very thorough program. We've bought vehicles. We have a full inspection staff of 15 inspectors right now. And we're going out. We're doing throughout the city inspecting buildings.
Good to know. I know you guys are doing an excellent job in the city of Union City, preventing fire and educating the city with all this information about safety issue. And talking about safety issue and everything, is there any different to a person who wants to be a firefighter or fire prevention today's day than the days when you came to to this career?
There's a great difference from when I started, and career-wise, it's not that long time ago. But there's been so many advances in the firefighting as well as the fire protection that's in buildings right now than years ago and generations ago. And there are things that most people are unaware of, and that's what we're trying to communicate to everyone. Fires are different now. Fires burn differently in buildings. They burn much quicker, much hotter. They advance a lot quicker. And we're trying to get this information out to the residents of the city so they're aware of it, so that they actually have less time in a burning building now than they've ever had in their lives. So this is what's the important information that we do through seminars and through getting out and meeting the community.
Most of the calls that you receive from the community, more or less, what those calls are all about?
Well, the calls that come in are typically people wanting to know about the inspections that we've done and what needs to be done. We have inspectors who will go out, they'll go to a property, and when I say property, these are to multiple dwellings. Anybody at 3 family or more in the city of Union City gets inspected. We go out and we're checking for fire safety in the building. the phone calls that we receive are typically about those, what needs to be done, what has to be done to make the building safer, and we address that. But we receive quite a few phone calls of complaints from the public of things that they feel unsafe about in their building that they want taken care of or looked at. And we go out and handle them. We do spot inspections, we have planned inspections, and anything that the tenants in the building feel unsafe with is what we go out and address. And we do this on a daily basis.
Great. This is great information for the community, the Dream City, Union City, New Jersey. Glenn, I'm going to ask you about what services do you provide to the public in general? I mean, talking about seminars, educational workshops. Can you tell us about that?
Well, there's 3 different areas that we address through our inspections. And the first is the owner of the building. We're there to protect their investment. We're there to make sure that their building is safe to prevent it against fire. We don't want to see tragedy in there. We don't want to see anything happen. We don't want to see them lose their investment. We also, in our priority at this point, becomes the tenants of the building. Again, we want them to be safe. We want all the alarms that are operating, all the safety devices that are in there operate properly, the systems that are there, sprinkler systems and fire alarm systems and pull stations. We're conducting inspections to make sure they're all working properly, to let the tenants of the building know that there's fire and how to get out. We also do the inspections for the safety of the firefighters that have to go into the building. We want to make sure that they have a safe environment to get into, that egress pathways are clear, that they can make it to the apartment, that doors have self-closing doors to hold the fire back, to protect the tenants when they get out, but also make an advancing fireman much safer to get into the building. So these are the 3 general areas that an inspection we have in mind during an inspection.
Very good. I'm going to show you flyers that I saw in my house, and those flyers are very educational. And I'm going to ask you a couple of things so you can describe it.
Sure.
Can you tell the community about the carbon monoxide devices that the community should know about those devices in the house?
Sure. Well, carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. It's produced by anything that is a fuel-burning appliance, so your stove, but mostly your water heaters and furnaces in the building. You do not know if there's a buildup of carbon monoxide, which is deadly over time. It can be immediately deadly depending upon how much is accumulating, or you can accumulate it in your blood system over time. Without having some type of warning device in your apartment, you'll never know that it's there.
Any symptoms that people should know when something is wrong with those devices? That something is happening?
With the device or a symptom with yourself?
Both.
Symptoms. Well, with the device itself, they're going to give you warnings when there's something going wrong with them, typically.
Like, for example,
the batteries will be beeping in them, things like that. The one thing most people don't know about a carbon monoxide alarm is that they have a life expectancy. They're only good for 7 to 8 years, depending upon the manufacturer. They should always take their alarm off, look at the back of it. It's going to have a manufacturing date on it. And they should count 7 years from then. At that point, they should be replaced in the apartments. Get new ones. Have the owner put them in. If you are the owner, provide them for your tenants. Get new carbon monoxide.
Can you get those devices electric?
You can. There are electric. The city of Union City has also just passed an ordinance that it's going to be required in any building with a monitored fire alarm system to have a carbon monoxide alarm installed automatically. That's going to dispatch the fire department directly if it's activated. And that's going to keep many people safe, because we're taking the chance of a tenant not having a properly function unit or replacing the batteries. We're eliminating that, and we're going to have the fire department to respond there directly at the activation of this alarm.
Very good to know.
If symptoms, as for carbon monoxide, are you'll become nauseous, you'll become lightheaded, you become dizzy, you become sleepy. These are all signs of carbon monoxide poisoning.
And those are the signs and the symptoms that the community should be aware.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, they just ignore those things, and could be tragic.
the citizens have the tendency to avoid alarms in general, whether they're fire alarms, whether they're carbon monoxide alarms. They feel sometimes they're burning the professionals from coming in and investigating. That is our job. That is what the fire department, that's what the police department is there for, to come and investigate, to see the problem. We all have special meters that will detect if there's carbon monoxide. We have cameras that will see through walls if there's heat or fire in there. We are the professionals to determine what's going on in there.
That's good to know.
If we need a resources of public service, we'll call them in if we need more to find out. So it's very important to notify us.
I'm going to ask you a question, and maybe it's a little different than what we've been talking about, but people like myself, watching TV all the time, we see the firefighters in the headquarters cooking during lunchtime, eating a lot of hamburgers, spaghetti, and meatballs. Can you tell me, is that a tradition? Or if you remember, if you know something.
That is absolutely a tradition of cooking in the firehouse. We live in the firehouse. Firemen in our area, we work 24 hours. We go in 7:30 in the morning. On one morning, we leave 7:30 in the morning the next morning. So it's like going into our house. And when we go in there, we begin our cleaning of the firehouse every day. We make sure everything is in order. We do all our training.
Were you the cook or the eater?
Oh, I am the eater right now. I was the cook for a very long time.
Glenn, thank you for taking the time to be in this program. Every Sunday at 7 p.m., the Dream City, Union City, New Jersey. The information that you just provide to the show have been just great, terrific. And I know you have been doing a great job in the city of Union City. It's an honor to have you here tonight.
Thank you, Kennedy. I appreciate being here.
Thank you. And tonight we have the second guest, special guest, my friend, Mr. Isola Joseph. It's a pleasure to have you tonight here.
It's a pleasure to have me here also, Mr. Kennedy. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Very good. Can you tell me what is your title in the Department of Fire Prevention in Union City and a little bit about your background?
Okay, I am the coordinator. I'm the one who got the whole Fire Prevention Bureau up where it is today. And I also choose Glen Gavin as to be my deputy director when the Mayor Stack approached me saying, look, we have to up our program for fire prevention in Union City. After the tragedy of 5 people died, we decided, we sat down, we had a fire prevention program, but we want to escalate it even more to another level. We wanted to bring more experts in. And that's when I brought Glen Gavin in. I sat down with him. We came up with a plan. We worked the plan. Now we implemented the plan. And right now, with our plan in Union City, our fires went down, but our alarms went up. And the reason why our alarms went up is a good thing, because the smoke detectors that we installed and that we have the owners put in, when the alarms go off, we respond. Without having those, we'll have fires instead of alarms. So when our alarms went up, of course, alarms activation, that's a good thing for us. There is no fire because the alarms are going off. We prevent the fire before it takes place.
Very good. What is the design of the department? How many people are really working right now, and what capacity the department has to, in terms of safety issue for the city of Union City?
Right now, we have all professional people with us. Majority of our personnel are either former firefighters or firefighters captain or battalion chiefs. There are actually line personnel. They work in the fire prevention office part-time. We have approximately 14 part-timers. Glen Gavin is the deputy director of the organization, which is doing an excellent job. I am the coordinator. Glen and I work excellent together for many years. Actually, Glen Gavin, my deputy director, was one of my probies when he first came on the fire department.
Wow.
And I gotta say this, he was the best probie I ever had. He was very conscientious. He studied real hard. And he really wanted to learn. And that's where he is today. Very professional. And now he passed it on to the probies he's getting down the road. And one of them is my nephew, David Isola, which Glen had the first time around to break him in as a fireman.
Good to know. And can you tell me, having in Union City a large community of Hispanic families, how you deal in the daily routine with the language barrier?
It's not really a problem for us. Most of our firefighters speak Spanish and English, all right? And the ones that don't speak Spanish, we have them to go out with somebody that speaks Spanish. And most of the people that we meet, they both speak Spanish and English. So we really haven't come across many problems with a language barrier. People, when it comes to fire, people understand no matter what language you speak.
And I can see Union City website, all literatures are bilingual, Spanish and
Yes,
English.
we try to do that.
Good job.
We thank you. We came up with a new flyer because we had a high-rise fire in Troy Towers not too long ago, and people say we don't know what to do. So I sat down with Glen Gavin. The mayor says, Joe, do whatever you got to do. We want to make our program even better. So I sat down with Deputy Director Glen Gavin. I said, what can we do? What can we make this better? So we do our education. We do seminars. So we says, look, let's give the information out there. Let's have it posted on the wall. We came up with all the information in a high-rise with important information that what you should do, more important, what you should not do during a fire. We made it a brochure, a big one, and we framed it, and we had permission with the owners in the high-rise building, and we posted it.
In what capacity Mayor Stack comes to the picture in terms of safety issue?
Mayor Stack is on top of safety 110%. He wants to see everything done right. Nothing is more important to him than people's safety and lives. When he sees even a building that burns down, it's not just a building. That's where people live. That's their home. They lose everything they have. And when you see this, and I know when Glenn sees it and I see it and a lot of firemen see it, our hearts break for these people. We try to save all their stuff. We try to do the best we can to save what we can for them. And it breaks our heart when we lose an animal, when we lose a person. We don't want to see that.
Years ago, I was the relocation officer of the city, and I believe I'm still doing it. Although other people are now helping me on that capacity. 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I used to see Mayor Stack working with the community, helping.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
The Mayor Stack is still here 24/7. Let me tell you. The mayor, and all I have to do is call him. Mayor, we got something going on at 2:30 in the morning. This is the address. Joe, I'll be right up there. Or could you pick me up if you don't have a way? It's not a problem. He's right up there. He gives us whatever we need to do to get the job done. Whatever we need to do to get the job that he gives us to us.
And you know, the first thing that Mayor Stack and the administration after a fire occurred in Union City is to have a meeting in the morning the next day, helping, assisting the constituents, the tenants, in providing the whatever they need, from a refrigerator, from the hotels to be relocated,
yes. Clothing, food, whatever needs to be done. And sometimes he'll call me up, Joe, we want to get the people, they have to get some of their belongings. They're looking for medicine. And he calls me up, can we get access to the building? As long as you have permission from the owner, I'll send the fire personnel over there to escort them in one at a time, because it's a very dangerous situation when you go into
and that's what we call in Union
out.
City the family, Union City family. And that's
time.
what we call this program, the Dream City.
The Dream City.
I mean, if you travel around the state of New Jersey and other states in the United States, I can tell you that the city of Union City is better and better every day in all sense.
Absolutely. I tell you, I started my career June 5th, 1981. That's how long I've been going with the fire department. And I got it from my father. My father was a retired fire captain in Union City.
I know you once told me.
Yes. And my brother also, and now my nephew's in.
Talking about the experience that you have, what is the advice that you give to the community when they see something wrong in their houses, apartment, smoke is coming from the stove? What is the first thing that they should do?
That's a very, very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. The first thing they should do is get out of the building. Get out of the building. Don't wait to call. Get out of the building first and then call us. If you stay in the building, that fire is growing bigger and bigger every 10 seconds. It could be double in size. You could get trapped in it. Get out of the building, yell, scream, get everybody else out of the building. Somebody outside, call us right away. We'll go quick. One of our biggest problems today with fires is just recently we had a 4-alarm fire in North Bergen, and we had a 4-alarm fire in Union City. Everybody takes their video camera out, taking video instead of
that was
calling.
recently. Yes.
That was just recently, like last month. And instead of calling, they're all taking videos. Somebody has to call. Somebody take the few minutes and call. Don't put your camera on until after you call.
This is one of the reasons about this show, to educate, to inform the community, because this is, I mean, we're talking about fire,
Yes.
Saving life.
Absolutely. One of the other biggest problems we have is people, we try to educate them constantly. We just had a major fire on 38th Street and Park Avenue. And the whole building was lost. It had to be ripped down. Thank God nobody got hurt. But they did get hurt because they lost all their belongings, all right? But nobody hurt physically. The problem there was people next door was telling us the alarms were going off since 9 o'clock in the morning. The fire department got the call at 11:35 in the morning. So that's telling me
Insane.
that's been burning 2 hours and 35 minutes before anybody calls. And the only reason why they called, not because of the alarm, because the fire was breaking out through the wall on the 38th Street side. When they seen the flames, then they started calling us. And that call, we only got one call. That's another one, only one call instead of multiple calls. We should have got multiple calls on that fire because it was blowing out the building. But people, again, take their cameras out, taking the video instead of calling.
Good to know. And I hope the community can learn from those
Absolutely.
fires, and when they see even something, just a little small, little fire, to call immediately, because we save lives.
It saves lives, you save property.
Now you remember, and this is one of the last question that I'm going to ask you, the bigger fire that you have been.
It was probably 1981 and 1982. The biggest fire I ever been in, it was in Hoboken. They called for mutual aid from Union City. And it had like 2 o'clock.
What did you learn from that fire?
I learned from that, call right away, number one. Don't hesitate. I also learned from that, you need mutual aid companies coming from different municipalities to help you put up, because it's too much for one municipality to handle. I also learned that everybody counts on each other. It could be your house. Your neighbor's got to warn you that
Definitely,
there's a
yes.
fire. Just don't think about yourself. Make sure you get your neighbor out. Make sure know who's living in your building, so you know everybody's out of the building. It's important.
At this stage of your life, are you happy of what you have done as a firefighter?
I'm very happy what I have done as a firefighter. I also made the rank of captain, but I always believe there's always more we can do. I always believe there's more improvement that we can make to make somebody's life better, to make somebody's life even happier. I think about the young children we have today. We got to educate them. They educate and go home and tell the parents. That's what's a great thing when we go to the schools.
I asked Glenn before, are you a cook or you an eater?
Well, I cooked a couple of meals, not a lot, but I'm an eater. It's the best thing about the fire department. I think it's the greatest job in the world. I love what I do. And I get up in the morning, I say to myself, I'm going to do the best I can do.
He says, so tell me the truth. I'm going to ask again.
Go ahead.
Glenn, okay? You're a big eater, okay?
I'm a big eater. It goes without saying, I am a big eater.
I can say that.
The thing with the fire department is everybody eats together. It's the camaraderie.
It's a family.
It's a family. It's a camaraderie. I watch your back, you watch my back. Anything that goes wrong. And I was in the firehouse for many years. I went in, I talked to the guys about my problems. They talked to me about their problems. And you get over it. You let it out. You feel good. You feel good.
Mr. Isola, thank you for taking the time to come to the Dream City, Union City, New Jersey.
I got to tell you, one more thing. I've been a resident in Union City ever since I was born. I lived on 12th Street and Central Avenue. And I ain't going to even tell you my age. But I've been here more than a quarter of a century. Let me tell you, I'm doing good.
Thank you. For the city of Union City and the Dream City, it was an honor to have those gentlemen here. Glen, Gavin, Deputy Director of Fire Prevention Department, and Mr. Joseph Isola, Coordinator of Union City Fire Prevention Department. You have a good night, and I see you next week at 7 p.m. as every Sunday, the Dream City, Union City, New Jersey. My name is Kennedy NG.